So President Donald Trump has appointed Robert Kennedy Jr. as the head of the Department of Health. The Department of Health oversees budgets, different regulatory committees in terms of health, drugs, agriculture, these types of things. Now, if we look back into the Biden COVID era, Biden actually appointed someone by the name of Rachel Levine, not born Rachel Levine, but the first transgender person within the Secretary of Health at that position, at that high of a level. And they were supporting gender-affirming care. They were also supporting, she, whatever your beliefs are, was responsible for the COVID response. And this era was absolutely horrible for businesses, for health, for humans, and for so many other things. So it's clear to say that Robert Kennedy is a far better solution for the head of the Department of Health. And I'm going to prove that to you in this video. I'm going to give you literally over 20 reasons why. So if we look back in Robert Kennedy Jr.'s career, we have to remember that he was the first person to set a precedent with the case against Monsanto. Monsanto being the company that made Roundup, which contains glyphosate, which is a known carcinogen, a cancer-causing chemical. And he got $290 million from Monsanto. And that set a precedent legally in the world to attack Monsanto, which is now has been acquired by Bayer. So he has been on the side of medical freedom and just really understanding what chemicals are dangerous to human health. So let's look at the 24 changes that Robert Kennedy Jr. has proposed to change the healthcare system in America to make America healthy again. Which, by the way, before I get into this, before you say, oh, he's not a good solution, look at his track record, look at his history with Monsanto drug companies, look at what he says and what he does. I could care less about what he says about having a brain parasite or something like that. We all have parasites. You have chemicals in your brain that he's trying to remove, and you're looking at his health condition and judging him. But in reality, we all have things that we need to work on in our health. And whatever he has personally, at least he's honest and vulnerable and upfront about it. I could care less if he has health conditions or health issues or brain parasites or whatever it may be. We all have health things. So stop judging and start looking at the intent of the person and their heart. So these are the changes that Robert Kennedy Jr. is looking to make. But before I get into that, let me share with you some stats. In this country, in the United States, we spend more money on drugs, on pharmaceutical drugs, than any country in the world. Yet we are the sickest, fattest, highest rates of heart disease, highest rates of diabetes, highest rates of cancer. Explain that. These drugs from Pfizer and all these Johnson & Johnson, all these companies do not work because they cause side effects, and those side effects cause more health issues in the long run. So it's worth looking at alternatives, which are really just what our grandparents did: eating healthy, eating organic, removing chemicals from agriculture, removing these drugs as solution, stop prescribing drugs to children, stop pushing crazy gender-affirming surgeries on children with these crazy people that are dealing with mental health and mental illness. Get rid of this crap. We need to get back to the basics. So here's what Robert Kennedy is proposing. Very simple, very common sense. Reforming the FDA and the CDC. The FDA being the Food and Drug Administration, which has introduced a whole host of chemicals into agriculture and food. Reforming the CDC, the Center for Disease Control. These are the ones that made the COVID era absolutely horrible. They have pushed experimental drugs and vaccines on people, enhancing vaccine safety, protecting medical choice, promoting preventative care as opposed to reactive care, reducing chronic disease rates by going after obesity, diabetes, and heart disease, creating affordable healthcare for all. We need to reform our healthcare. Drugs are not healthcare. Drugs are sick care maintenance. What are we doing? Get rid of these Rachel Levine Biden people. Get rid of them. Move them out. So going on to environmental health and sustainability, clean energy transition, which, to be honest with you, fossil fuels are not as bad as we think. That's a whole other conversation. If you look at the life cycle of lithium-ion batteries, they actually use coal to pull these things from the earth. So then you're using these, and then it's actually not as green as people think. It's a whole other conversation. Protecting water resources, eliminating harmful chemicals like glyphosate and PFAS, forever chemicals, agricultural, reforming, regenerating farming practices. So we're talking permaculture and organic farming, reducing processed foods, such as encouraging whole foods and fresh foods, food label transparency, letting people know about additives and GMOs and the nutritional content in the food that we're eating. This is common sense, basic stuff that Rachel Levine, or whatever his name is, would never do. Empowering communities through decentralization. Decentralization allows for flexibility and healthcare to cater to people specifically. Supporting local economies, local food production, renewable energy at a local level, small businesses, creating resilient communities, investing in public spaces such as parks. Las Vegas doesn't have parks. The suicide rates are high in Las Vegas because there aren't parks. There's certain parts of this country that literally don't have parks, and parks make healthy communities. Community centers, recreational areas, addressing mental health and substance abuse, mental health services such as increasing funding for mental health care, fighting the opioid epidemic to hold pharmaceutical companies accountable for their role in this crisis, reducing social isolation, which is what Rachel Levine and the whole Biden era did during COVID. They literally pushed people into isolation. Suicide rates skyrocketed. Mental health skyrocketed. Social isolation is a problem. This lone wolf mentality is unhealthy and it's sick. It's making people mentally unwell. Raising the minimum wage for Americans. Addressing housing inequality to reduce stress. Investing in education. Our education has gone to crap in this country. Are you kidding me? It's horrible. Teachers don't even care anymore. Restoring public institutions, improving government transparency. Our government is hiding behind a wall, a veil, a secrecy. We need to create transparency so we know what our government is doing. We pay taxes. Our government works for us. We should know what they're doing with our tax dollars. Promoting civic engagement, participation in decision-making processes through town halls and advisory boards. This is the old way. It should be the new way. We need to stop having lobbyists and secret politicians making decisions in secret behind closed doors. And last but not least, independent oversight over committees so that they ensure that they serve the public interest. These are the 24 changes that Robert F. Kennedy Jr. proposes to make. And when we look back to this era of Biden and Rachel Levine and having people who are mentally unwell, look at the transgender community. They're unwell mentally. Suicide, depression, all these rates are much higher in this community. So putting someone in a position that is unwell, in a position to allocate resources to make this country well, like Rachel Levine or the Biden era did, is a horrible idea. If you're still judging Robert F. Kennedy Jr. for trying to remove chemicals from agriculture, trying to hold drug companies accountable, trying to create more of a sense of community, creating transparency within the government, then you are the crazy one. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. has a good heart. He cares about this country. He cares about the health and the well-being of people. I could care less whether you're on the left politically or whether you're on the right politically. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is trying to do what's good for this country. So support him and support those ideas and stop judging him. Understand the truth and know that the truth will set you free. I'll link below to an article that explains these things in a little bit more depth and detail. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you understand that mental health, physical health, these things do need reform in this country, and we need something that is bold and that creates radical change. Remember, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., they assassinated his uncle because he wanted to change the Federal Reserve. He wanted to end the Federal Reserve. He wanted to end fiat currencies. He wanted to bring banking and finance back to the gold standard in this country. That's exactly why they murdered him. So Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is putting his neck out there. He's sticking his head out. He's putting his life on the line to create change in healthcare in this country. And I think the least we can do as citizens of this country that care about our health and our well-being and our children and our future generations is to support him. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please leave a like, comment, and challenge me below. If you don't believe in what I'm saying, challenge me and let's debate in the comment section. Have a great day. Bye.